Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome to the Christopher Mark Show. Today, I have an amazing uh, person who's here with us, and he just does amazing things, beautiful work, beautiful things for all the people within the community. Zane, can you tell everybody your full name and what do you do?
Hey, what's up, Chris? Thanks for having me today on the show. My name is Zane Booker, and I am an entrepreneur. I own a place called Brown Street Cafe. It's uniquely situated inside of the ShopRite on Island Avenue, and we've been there for a year. We had our anniversary in Thanksgiving this year. Our taglines are coffee, collaboration, and community, and we kind of live by that. We collaborate with several Black entrepreneurs, and we also collaborate with several organizations that do artistic work too.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, cool. So Zane, what inspired you to get started with starting your coffee shop, and what's the story behind that? What's the inspirational story for everyone to get a full glimpse into your life and your vision and what you're trying to accomplish and everything?
Well, it's a couple of bullet points. One, I'm by trade, I'm a choreographer and a dancer, and I had started my own nonprofit dance companies, but my family is entrepreneurial. So sometimes I forget about that, but my mother and I started a production company while I was still living in Europe in the 90s. And my father was a serial entrepreneur. He went from vending to running a pool hall to driving taxis to making jewelry. And when I thought about what I would do after I danced, I always saw myself running my own business. So fast forward to me ending my dance career and my choreographic career slowing down. I went to work as a deli manager, and that experience plus my experience throwing events and doing food with the events gave me the idea to do a coffee-based business, which is now focusing more on food. So that's kind of what happened in a nutshell. But I've always been entrepreneurial. I'm always thinking of a a a new creative idea. How can I collaborate with this person? For example, one of the things that I had decided I wanted to do before I opened the coffee shop was I've been a member of the Philadelphia Dance Company for years. Either in and out. We always say gone without the E. So I traveled in Europe and danced in different companies, but I always came back in one capacity or another. And I always thought that one day I would be able to donate a big amount of money to the company. Well, I didn't really have a lump sum to donate, so I raised it. So in about 2 or 3 years ago, right before the pandemic hit, or right at the beginning, somewhere in the pandemic, the years mash up now, we raised $10,000 through 3 events, working with different local artists and doing art sales and events. So I always knew that I had these creative ideas that were attached to money and community. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
so I just go with the idea. It hits me, and I'm like, okay, let's see how we're gonna make this one work.
I can understand that. That's kind of how it starts. It's like you have these moments where you're like, okay, this is going to be cool. This is going to work. Let me, what else is there to do? Because in some instances, either you're bored or you're like, I need something that's going to keep me like dedicated to it and committed to it.
Right.
And then once you find that thing, you're just all in. So trust me, I totally understand. I remember yesterday, me and you were talking, and you were telling me about, and I would say this is your greatest opportunity ever to tell everybody, educate them on the coffee, right?
Right.
Because you was educating me on coffee, and I was just like, man, I was just all about hazelnut and French vanilla. But this, once he started talking about like all types of coffee beans and everything. So can you like just drop some knowledge on some people about what coffee really entails, and why is that important to you more
So
than anything?
I will say this: I had my journey to learning about coffee is in the beginning stages. So what I love about what I've learned so far was that the origin of it came out of Ethiopia. And what I was telling you yesterday is it's been co-opted by the elites of, you know, all of these different countries. And when we think about coffee, it can be very intimidating. I said, but the origins of it is something that's very, very local and accessible and family oriented. And in Ethiopia, it has a very strong cultural significance because it is connected to your wealth, it's connected to how you welcome people into your home, and it's connected to community. It's not this elitist endeavor where you can be intimidated by the bean or the notes and all of these things. And that's the thing that I attached to when I finally learned all of the elite stuff at a conference. You know, oh my God, it was so scientific. It was so, you know, calculated, and, you know, you had to know the right notes and the right blend, and whether you did it in an automated roaster or it can be very scientific. But what I loved about what I found out once I started meeting some of the Ethiopian folks and some of the Black folks down south who are doing coffee is they told me the other story of it. And that I liked. And so that freed me up not to be intimidated by the elite version of coffee that's out there in the world right now. You know, people like coffee because it wakes them up, and it's a sign that they're alive in the morning, and you know, it allows them a place to connect to somebody on a regular basis. You know, it reminds them of their parents. Like, I drank coffee with my grandmother. I drank black coffee when I was younger. And a lot of people, they're thinking about Folgers and Maxwell House. They're not always thinking about, is it an Arab, which bean it is or which country it comes from. Is it Colombian? Is it Ethiopian? Is it Kenyan? You know, they really are thinking, is it strong? You know, how much sugar can I fit in that cup?
Yeah.
And that's only one.
Yeah, no.
That's only one sector. It's not everybody. Like, I love the folks that really know it because they can teach me still, and I can share my knowledge about coffee that I know. But, you know, I also have to be available for folks who see it in a different way. You know, and it's not cut them off because they don't know as much as I think they should know, or somebody else thinks they should know.
Let me ask you this next question. So, for the people, they don't really know that you. Some of them know that you cook, but that you also are more into the culinary aspect and the art. You know, the artistry of making food. What is the things that you noticed about, like, what you would want to make for people, and then what are the common thing that most people want from you?
Well, I mean, you know, I think because I'm so accessible and I'm so like somebody's neighbor in the store, folks think that they can come up and just tell me how they want things cooked. You know what I mean? But I'm still a business. I still need things to be repeatable by people who work with me when I'm not there. So I do notice, you know, folks, you don't scramble the eggs in the pan, or you don't do it this way, or you don't do it that way. And this year I'm accommodating and changing some of the ways I did things. But for a while I had to do it the same way because I wanted it to be consistent. I wanted it to be repeatable. So, you know, folks want butter, but now I'm using butter. Folks want, you know, they want done in a skillet. A skillet. I was doing it in a skillet, but I was using the oven. Now I have to do it on the stove. Sometimes I think it's mental, and sometimes I think folks just want things the way they want. You know, but some things you can accommodate and some things you can't. You know what I mean? I think I think as I move forward, like, folks love fish, so using a deep fryer. Folks don't want to fry fish at home because of the smell. That works really well for us. We season it well. We get a good product. We buy a good product. And people keep coming back and they tell us how well it is. So that's something that's in my lane. I need to stay in my lane. You know what I mean? Things that my mother taught me how to cook, and I can cook well. I cook those things because those are in my lane. You know,
I understand.
and it's
What go ahead,
and
go
it's
ahead, I'm listening to
interesting
you.
because I can improvise. I'm a good improviser because I'm not one of those people who, you know, it's like, oh, I don't have this ingredient, so I can't fix that. And I've gotten compliments for people who ask me for things, and I kind of improvise. And like, oh, thank you, chef. I remember one time this guy came in, and I made him a sandwich, and he didn't want this, he didn't want that, and I put something together. He was like, oh my God, that was delicious. He said, thank you, chef. I said, well, I'm not a chef. He said, yes, you are. When you can take something and make, you know, take nothing and make something, and you're a chef. I said, okay, I'm gonna accept that. I'll accept that.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny, like when you start cooking and you can create and make it where it's a unique it creates a unique flavor for people, and they never taste before. It's like, yeah, they're going to see you as a chef. It's like, yeah, you might not have like the like, oh, I went to school or da 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 da, but the fact that you're able to create, most people didn't, and they wound up running restaurants because they're that passionate about food and about being able to create and make something that is unique to, you know, to other people's palates. So let me ask you this question, like, what is your favorite meal?
To cook or to eat?
Okay, so let's do both. Cook and eat. Let's do both.
You know what I've been enjoying a lot? The making soup this winter.
Okay.
Okay. I feel like each time I make a new pot of soup, it's getting better, and I'm getting great feedback. I think the feedback is also addictive. You know, when people love what you do, that makes it different. So I enjoy that, and I also enjoy making our salmon cakes. Because that reminds me of my mom. Like it was my mother's one of her like things she did really well, and she passed away in 2009. So when I'm doing that, I feel like she's there. You know.
Right. So put you back into that nostalgic moment of making it with her or her making it for you.
Yeah. Gotcha. And she really taught me how to do things in a commercial kitchen. Because when I moved to Europe, I was barely good at cooking. I really. She would come to Europe when we would throw these events, and we would, you know, rent out a kitchen, and she basically showed me how to do it. Because, you know, Phillies are known for throwing a cabaret, and my mom was a cabaret thrower, so they used to cook for those things. So they were used to cooking for big events, and, you know. So that's where I got my skill set from. It was handed down from my mother. You know what I mean? She taught me everything I knew about cooking for masses of people and catering, really.
Did that, so from you traveling and being exposed to other aspects, like other parts of the world, did that change you not only in as far as like doing like food, but your view of like artistry as a dancer and everything like that? Did that alter anything for you?
Yeah, I think one of the first things that I remember realizing was the absence of tension when I moved to Holland. Okay. And not that, of course, they were colonialists. But for me, as an American, as a Black American, the negative energy wasn't focused on me. And I don't remember, that was the first time I ever felt like I wasn't being watched, or I shouldn't say that. That was the first time I didn't notice the tension in the room. I was like, oh, no, ain't nobody thinking about me. You know what I mean? I can just be me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Of course, the lens was different because there was curiosity about the Black American, but it wasn't the suspicion or it wasn't the American tension. It wasn't the racial tension that exists here. So when I went to Holland, it was such a sense of relief. And I think that gave me a sense of, oh, I can live in a whole nother country. I can, you know what I mean? I can enjoy this whole other space and these different traditions. And what I found was eventually, because the Black folks that lived in Holland were from Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao, and Suriname. We had a lot in common, but I learned about their cooking because I spent a lot of time with them. I became friends with Dutch people and with folks from Bonaire, Curacao, and Aruba, and Suriname. So Surinamese food, and all these things. So I think that affected the way I saw flavors and how you put food together too, because some of the things were similar and some of them were different, but the energy was the same. Home cooking is home cooking.
It is. It gives you a sense of like you get to put your heart into it. You get to put like your soul into it, and it's not it's nothing like it. Like the fact that like you put it in the oven or you put it on the stove, and the smells that come into the house, and then it's just like it just creates this whole energy. It's amazing. So now that everyone knows that you cook, they know that you know about coffee other than Maxwell House. So now we're going to cover the aspect of you as a dancer. So what are you doing now as far as dance, and then what was your favorite moment as far as being a performer that you feel like stuck out throughout your career?
So what I'm doing now, I work presently with the Philadelphia dance company, Philadanco. I'm the assistant rehearsal director and coach. I was born and raised in that space, so that is like a family space for me. A few years ago, I decided I wanted to raise money for them. I think I talked about it. It was like $10,000. So that was my role before I came into this role as rehearsal coach. So I love Philadanco. I've been with them since I was 14. I love all the new choreographers that come in. I'm loving that I have to learn a new generation of dancer. It's a very different generation, and I'm sure every elder says that about the generation that they're teaching. But this is my turn to relearn or learn another generation. The learning process is different. The teaching process is different. The connecting process is different. The way that you have to coach them is a little bit different. And that's fine. 10 years ago, I coached one way, and now I have to coach a different way. And that's interesting to me. I think I have a couple of favorite moments in my career. One was getting my contract with Philadanco at 14 when they invited me in. Two was getting my contract in Europe, my first contract in Europe, which came like right after the audition. Then as my career progressed, I think, being invited to dance places without auditioning was amazing. I got to work with Baryshnikov. I danced with his company. I got to work with Desmond Richardson and Dwight Roden. I danced with their company. I got to choreograph in Tokyo. I got to guest in Tokyo. I got to choreograph in Paris for musical theater. So I had some really, really, really amazing moments. Like, I cannot look at my career and say that God did not bless me with all of the opportunities that I needed to have a successful career. I mean, some of them were filled with learning curves, but they happened, and I showed up every day and gave 150%. So I have no regrets about my dance career.
Gotcha.
And then I started my own company too, and that was, choreographically, I think that was the most fulfilling, when I had the Smoke Lilies and Jade Arts Initiative, because it was tied to promoting the health of Black men. First we were focusing on AIDS, and we were really tying all of our work to the community in HIV/AIDS prevention and education. And that was a really, really, really important phase of my life. That was like for 5 or 6 years, me, my mother, and my sister ran that company.
Zane, you do a lot.
Yeah, man. It's been a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, I know it is. I know it is. It's not easy being good at a lot of things, and But I think that's always that. I guess they call it a learning curve.
Right.
I feel like it's just a curve. I feel like it's just a curve, but they call it a learning curve. So let me ask you this: if you had to, um, say to people like, what is the one thing that keeps you going? Like to let people know, like, that thing that just like, okay, this is why I wake up every day. This is why I keep doing what I'm doing, whether that's through dance, whether that's through your coffee shop, or even through you donating and raising funding for people. Like, what is that thing that really ultimately motivates you?
Well, I think connecting to people. I think whatever business I'm in, it's a people business. You know what I mean? And I think I'm nothing without all of the people that surround me and help me and believe in me. And sometimes that's just somebody saying, wow, that food was really good, or thank you for helping me put this together. That fulfills me. Like creating, seeing things come into fruition is definitely something, because I'm a dreamer, I'm a creative, and it's something that I have to, most of the time I have to, pick and choose, because you're like, oh, I have this idea. Every time you see something, it stimulates another idea, but you choose the one idea, and to watch that thing grow and come to fruition is so fulfilling to me. Like, I love it. And I'm a workaholic, I think. I don't know if that's a good thing, but I am. And so just going in and working every day at something and watching it grow and just being committed, that gives me pleasure. It brings me joy. I'm joyfully making and doing and going in. Like, not that I don't get tired, but usually by the time I get in there and I'm doing the first thing, I'm doing it with joy. I'm never doing anything with resentment. And if I am doing it with resentment, for sure, I'm about to go do something else.
Gotcha. So what would you say if you had to give this, I guess, like a little quote or something that you think will help other people who are walking your path, whether that's through dance, whether that's through entrepreneurship, whatever it may be? What would be that inspirational thing that you would say to them to help keep them going?
I mean, you just know you don't have to do anything alone. There's always, the universe, God, however you choose to see serendipitous relationships. If you want to do something, there's always going to be somebody there to help. God is going to send them there to help you. So don't be afraid to dream it, because you're going to get assistance. And I know that. I have not thought of anything, and the person that was going to help me didn't appear. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I always get help. I'm never alone. When I fall down, there's always somebody to help me.
Yeah, that is true. It's powerful.
There is a community, folks. I've always rebuked when people say we don't have a community. We do have a community, but you have to participate in it. It's reciprocal.
Yeah.
It's karmic.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Man, yeah, I'm sure that's going to help a lot of people. So my last question to you, Zane, is how do people find you? So I know you have your coffee shop, and can you give them the address?
Absolutely.
And how can they find you online and all that good stuff?
Yeah. So my Instagram is brown_street_cafe. You can find us there on Instagram. Inside of the ShopRite, we are located inside of the ShopRite on Island Avenue in Penrose Plaza in Southwest Philadelphia. We are located at a kiosk between the chicken and the deli. There are two tables out there in front of us. If you go to Grubhub, you can find us. If you go to Brown Street Cafe at ShopRite on Island Avenue, you can find our online menu. Brown Street Cafe at ShopRite on Island Avenue. You can find our online menu. And you can also find us on Facebook at Brown Street and Brown Street Cafe.
Awesome. And yo, we're gonna create a profile for Zane so you guys can find all the information part of the Dreamer Society and what we do here. Zane, you're awesome.
Good.
You
I
do
appreciate
amazing
that.
work. You help a lot of people, and you know, I'm really happy that you had the chance to have had the journey that you had as far as being able to, you know, performing through what you do now with, you know, your coffee shop, and then also still being able to keep, you know, the moments in your life inspirational for other people. You know, so I think that's a huge factor, because it's like sometimes we do things and we don't realize the level of impact that we're having until some people walk up to you and say, hey man, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have went this way. So I appreciate everything that you're doing, because I'm sure we all need it. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are definitely going to watch this and be inspired by it. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you. And I just want to give a quick shout out because I was off today, and I went to another Black-owned space. And it's Artesial Coffee, and it's right at 3100 Spring Garden. It's a beautiful space.
Oh, that's nice.
She's the owner. She's over there, but she allowed me to sit here and do this recording. Because I'm closed on Monday, so I usually try to go to another Black-owned space.
Does she want to say hi? Just
Sure.
a hi?
Absolutely. Charla, do you want to say hi to the blogger? This is Christopher Marc.
Hi. How are you? I love your place.
Oh,
It's
thank
beautiful.
you. You have to come by.
You
Really?
Will do. Yes. Well, I'm a little bit outside of Philly, but I'll definitely will come by. Yeah.
Looking forward to meeting you.
Yeah. This is amazing. How long have you been around in business?
We're in year 3 now. We just completed year 2 in November.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I'll definitely we'll definitely let people know about you, and I'll put some links in the comment to have them directed back to you.
You guys having a call?
Yeah, we just had an interview.
Yeah.
He has a call.
So maybe one day I can interview you.
Well, very nice.
Yeah, maybe one day. It was a pleasure meeting you as well.
All right, take care.
If it's okay with her, I'll let you guys exchange information.
Please.
So maybe you can interview her one day.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to hear your story, hear your journey. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Man, Zane, you're doing some awesome things, man. Awesome. Just, man, please keep going. Please. You're inspirational.
Thank you.
Zane, thank you for taking your time today. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I do really do appreciate it. And yeah, so what I'll do is I will keep you posted on once we have everything tweaked and put together. And then I will send everything over to you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you reaching out.
Cool, Vince. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care now.
Peace.
Bye-bye.